Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to another Sporting160EN podcast. This is podcast number 56. After a bit of a hiatus, but the boys are back to talk about Sporting. Um, the good and the bad, really. But anyways, let's go to the panel first, starting off with my good friend Steph. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, I'm doing great, man. It's been a while. It's been a minute. Been busy with both of my jobs, and but I'm finally back, and I'm excited. So thank you for accepting me back.
For this. When did you ever leave, bro?
Nice and sentimental. I like it.
For this guy never left, bro. What's there to accept?
I like it. I like it.
And also joined by my good friend Nando. Nando, what's up, bro?
Hey man, I'm happy, man. Usually I'm the guy who comes in here a little bit more like down and shit and just like for the Sporting caray, this, that, and the other. Three straight wins. Three straight wins.
It's a miracle.
Three straight wins. I don't
Did
care
you
what we won.
did you go did you go to Fatima or something?
No, but I começo todas as manhãs a rezar um pouquinho, termino a noite de thank you e olha.
Três vitórias todas cagadas, meu, mas pronto.
Hey, it don't matter. Hey, Benfica once again Tondela, they don't even know how either. So
Yeah, three
Yeah.
straight.
and Porto just started against Maritimo. So
Yeah, and we
you
just
know,
made up a little ground.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, a little ground. We're still so far away, though.
You guys remember that we're good at math.
Hey,
yeah,
we are.
yeah,
We
you're
are.
right. We are mathematicians at this point of the season.
We are.
Anyways, we're gonna start talking about the games that we missed. Just briefly, two Europa League games and the famous Taça Portugal against Alverca game. I'll start off with our game against LASK. Sporting played at home, won 2-1. Goals from Luis Felipe and Bruno Fernandes after being down in the 16th minute. Um, LASK is a good team. We were able to see that with our game against them. A team that almost qualified for Champions League, just lost out to Club Bruges, who, fun fact, on that same week tied against Real Madrid. So, I mean, I guess you can say some quality from us. We had a solid maybe 5-10 minutes in that second half that really won us the game. But Lask showed that they're a tough team. Could have very well tied the game. Could have very well escaped with all 3 points, really. And yeah, aside from a breakaway on the second half towards the end that could have put us 3-1, nothing more to say about that. And hopefully a better showing away at Lask. Let me just quickly say the 11. It was Ruben Ribeiro. We played with a back three: Quach, Neto, Jeremy Mathieu. Dumbia in the midfield with Wendell and Bruno Fernandes. Cunha and Miguel Luis on the wings. And Yannick Boulassi and Luis Felipe up top. Steph, I'll give you the 11 for the Alverca game, and you just take us through it. It was Luis Max at net. We had Christian Borja, Luis Neto, Thiago Ilori, and Rosier in defense. Dumbia and Eduardo Henrique, Miguel Luis in midfield, Lucien Vieto, Luis Felipe, and Jesse up top. What are your thoughts about the Alverca game, bro?
Well, the first thing that stood out for most Sporting fans in general was that Silas didn't start up with the best squad. So he gave minutes to players that usually don't start for Sporting. Um, and in our day and age, the way we're performing, that was kind of dangerous. Um, because we can barely win in our Liga NOS, and going to put new players with no chemistry against a team with a smaller pitch at Alverca, and fully motivated playing against one of the big teams of Portugal, it was kind of committing suicide. Um, and that's a number one mistake I think Silas made. With that said, I like Silas. I'm not saying I don't like him. I do, but he has to realize that it's, and I think he does realize it now, and we'll talk about it a little bit further, that he can be doing experiments because we don't have a good enough team, and that's and it was a poor preparation by this administration and Ug Viana. We got rid of the most influent players, and we put all the pressure on the one player, Bruno Fernandes. Silas now trying to change it. But against Alverca we played really bad. But if you take into consideration that the weather conditions were pretty shitty, the pitch was actually in good condition for the amount of rain that fell into Alverca Stadium, um, and that didn't help Sporting at all. And They scored two goals in two counterattacks, and we lost fair and square. I mean, that bullshit about one of their players couldn't play and stuff like that. That's totally bullshit. I wouldn't want to win in with that excuse.
The
Uh,
Secretaria.
yeah. So na secretaria.
There you go.
So
Sorry.
somebody's making a lot of noise.
Sorry.
Um,
Might be me.
but to wrap it up, Alverca won fair and square. Sporting didn't perform well enough for a team that's supposed to be one of the top three teams of Portugal this year. Not so much. But Silas, I think he realized he messed up by not putting the best squad on the pitch. And I'll give the benefit of the doubts just because of the raining conditions. Because for a team with skillful players, that kind of pitch is better for the opponent with less kills. Because you can dribble, you can place the ball the way you want it, and that's what I saw. And Alverca, they put a very physical team, not caring very much about playing beautiful soccer. It was more about let's win the game, whatever way we can, and they succeeded. And congratulations to them. And then they lost against a team I never heard before the next week, and that's the way it is. But that's it. That's all I gotta say about that game.
Yeah, fair enough. And of course, next game was Rosenborg. Nando, I'll pass that one off to you. It was Ruben Ribeiro and net. I am getting some feedback. You are right. Is it me?
Yeah, when you
I
start
think so.
talking, it comes out of you.
Yeah, it comes really loud. Yeah.
It might be my
When you muted it, it went away.
Compras essa merda no Walmart, caralho.
Puta que
A
Na
little, a
China,
little
caralho.
two for special.
Yeah, that is weird. I'll see if I can find some headphones in the meantime.
Comprou
But anyway,
no Chinatown, cara.
you already know, bro. You already know. The dollar store, bro.
We're all in uma reestruturação financeira, bro.
Sure. Temos que poupar. Eu estou a fazer a minha parte, caralho.
He works for a bank now, so watch out, bro.
Oh shit! Oh, it's true.
No, bro. No, you don't know. I sold my headphones for custa zero para poupar no salário, caralho. Foda-se.
That's right.
Para pagar as cotas, ó Varanda.
Anyways, we had Ruben Ribeiro in net, Rosier, Claques, Mathieu, and Acunha on defense. Dumbia, Wendell, Bruno Fernandes in the midfield with Felipe, Vieto, and Blasi up top. And I will be right back. Hopefully my brother has a pair of headphones that work. But Nando, take us through it, dude.
Yeah, so I think right off the bat, the biggest difference between this game and last game, and it's kind of nailed by Steph, is the lineup, right? So if with Alverca, our biggest issue was our lineup and us very much underestimating our opponent, and especially the magnitude of the matchup. You know, it is Taça Portugal. It doesn't matter if it's against an Alverca or if it was Porto Benfica. This game, we definitely went into it with a lot more serious approach. The lineup is a lot more logical. It's a lot more attack focused. Actually kind of shocked a little bit that we went with Luis Felipe and both Vieto and Bolazzi at the same time. I don't think we've seen that in any other game since, at least all three at the same time. At least not last game. Felipe came in or started it, and then he had the game before that. So the formation is definitely there. Still not quite the formation I think that Sporting should be playing in, but we definitely played a lot better than Alverca, but still not good enough. And I think that's still showing us like how Silas has been, performing as the coach thus far. We had some opportunities early on, some decent movements. I think we'd all agree that Rosenborg didn't really show much threat, much promise at all throughout that game. Making a couple of mistakes, and Oviedo had an opportunity on a mistake. Bruno Fernandes hit the crossbar on the lever early. Couple crosses in. So, we had some of those opportunities, and of course, we scored on a bullshit goal by Bolazi, where I don't even know how the ball goes in. So, a very Sporting way of scoring. And we won 1-0, man. It's as simple as that. I mean, we dominated possession, we dominated shots on targets, passes. We played at home. We did what we needed to do. But I think that game overall, you look at it and you see how we performed, and you kind of see how Sporting have been playing up to that point under Silas. And I think that was we have to win at all cost game. It doesn't matter if it's ugly. And I think that's the mentality we've been approaching every game right now, and that's fine by me because we definitely need some wins. But there wasn't really much improvement. I mean, it was slight, it was more consistent, but we won. And there's really not much more to add to that. I mean, yeah, it was one of those games. I don't think anybody really, stood on the top of their chairs and was like, well, oh my goodness, look at this. I think we might have even yawned a few times, to be honest.
No, I agree with you. I mean, the game was. The problem is, I'm going to tell you, Steelers likes to play on a 4-3-3. That's his preferred tactic. And me personally, I'm not an expert by any means, but I think he realized he doesn't have a good enough team to play the 4-3-3. So the last games he's been playing a 4-4-2.
Yeah, for
which
sure.
is the very traditional tactic by most coaches. I think he's gonna wait until January, or maybe if he sees someone that can step up from the under 23 or even on the under 19, he might make some adjustments. But he's not gonna be playing his preferred method of 4-3-3 anytime soon until he feels totally confident. So you will see Sporting play in a 4-4-2 from now on until he feels more confident and trustworthy of his team. It's a shame because Rosier, Valentin Rosier, we were expecting him to be this great
Yeah,
fullback.
a lot more out of him.
Yeah, he could do the whole corridor, and that's not what's going on. He's been really his performance has been really low. Ritovsky's back, but he's very limited playing offensively. He's really good defensively, but he can cross for shit. Even against Pas Freitas, he had a great chance to put the ball away, and he shanked it. It looked more like an NFL 3-pointer than anything.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, from a professional player, I'm expecting much better than that. But he'll give it all to you. He's like an Energizer bunny.
And that's what you
Ritowski.
need on this team right
Yeah,
now.
but he's limited. That's the thing. That's why we got Valentin Rosier. But with that said, I mean, um, you're right. The goal from our striker for the Tres Tabelas hit the defender twice before it went in, and the goalie nearly saved it. But
Yeah.
they play better than we did. We won the game, and I'll take the win. 6 points, we're in second place behind PSV. Uh, yeah, and then if we win next Thursday again, I mean, we basically move on to the next phase. And my promise to you guys, if Sporting makes it to the final of Liga Europa, I'm going to that game.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, but they need to make it. I don't know if
I'll
they
be
will.
there with you. Shit. I'm
Yeah,
dying for some happiness.
I
I'll
already told.
be
I
there with
already.
you, bro.
I
23rd.
already. Yeah, I already told my Bifikista wife, and she said, "Okay, as long as you take me." I said, "I'll take you."
Uh,
If that's the deal, I'll take you.
it's funny.
I yeah, I told her I'm going, but I don't know if we'll make it that far. We'll see.
Não,
Well,
não muito.
if we just keep getting there, aos encontrões, who cares?
Yeah, I don't care either.
Yeah,
Feliz. Yeah.
true.
Fuck it. We used to play pretty and not win, so
Listen, Portugal won the Euros that way, so and I didn't give two shits. So if Sporting does the same to a league title too, I wouldn't mind at all.
Tudo cagado e o caralho. I don't
It's
care.
a foda, bro. It's a foda. Anyways, are you guys hearing me better? Am I still feedback?
No, much better, man.
For this, I have to go to the rich part of town, bro, to get these headphones.
Your brother's
Anyways,
room.
here's the Guimaraes lineup. You guys can see my screen, right? Hopefully, I think so. Yeah. Anyways, we had Ruben Ribeiro in net, Valentin Rosier, Coates, Mathieu, and Acunha in the defense. We had Eduardo Henrique, Doumbia, and Bruno Fernandes in midfield with Blasi, Vieto, and Hesse up top. Hesse getting a goal. We had substitutions of Luis Felipe, Christian Borja, and of course Rodrigo Fernandes, the academy kid, 18 years old, was still playing for the juniors before he started or before he came onto the field. Steph, I'll pass it off to you, dude. What were your thoughts on this game?
Well, we played against a very good team that only lost to Arsenal in the last seconds of the game.
Yeah.
And Guimaraes has proven that they have a good squad. I think that game against Arsenal kind of helped us, or at least put us in the same playing field because we played on Thursday, they played on Thursday. So it worked out for both of the teams, more for Sporting because you could see that Guimaraes was also tired as a team. But overall, Sporting did deserve to win. We played better. Um, I mean, we scored 3 goals. They scored 1 goal. Um, didn't like the way we suffered that 1 goal. I think we could have avoided that. Um, but I was very happy with the changes that Silas made. And again, like I was telling Nando, Silas realized that the 4-3-3, the team is not there yet. I don't think we have the players for that tactic at all. With lack of like Doumbia, he's not a number 6. I mean, I'll give the benefit of the doubt to Doumbia, but um, personally, I would demote him to the under 23 team. He still has a lot to learn. He's not good enough for the A squad whatsoever. And this January we'll talk about it. I would try to get another number 6 or see if the under 23 has somebody ready to step up into that role. But against Guimarães, I just saw Guimarães crossing too many balls. And then Mathieu applied himself. Coates was a good, also excellent as a center back. But if I'm not mistaken, they had like 20 crosses into our box. And that's very dangerous because if we play against a good team with good strikers, we lose. So but I'll take the win and kudos to Vieto. He had another excellent game. Acuna as well. Rasud like always, and he scored a nice goal. Didn't complicate it. Pretty easy. And I think the worst play of the pitch was actually the Guimarães goalie. He didn't. He's a good goalie, young goalie, but against Sporting he played pretty bad. And the referee was actually pretty good for that game. And the substitutions, I think they were made on time. So good win for Sporting. So we can slowly see that we getting to the level that Silas wants, but it takes time. That's not his team. He didn't pick that team. So it will take some time. But we'll talk about the Paços Ferreiras game and all that stuff. But I think slowly they're simulating what he wants, and we're starting to see that at the beginning of the game we play well, and then towards the end of the first half, and then we play like shit again. It's like we forget everything that we've learned, and then the second half we play well at the beginning, and then towards the end of the game we'll play like shit again. So like he said, Silas, psychologically the team is not there yet, and that's it.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, Steph. Oh, fucking feedback's back, isn't it? Anyways,
Caganiz, ándalo.
sorry, dude. Anyways, Nando, take us through your thoughts, dude.
Yeah, can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
cool.
dude.
Yeah, so I mean, I think if we go back and look at all these games that we just kind of were going over, I think the Vitória Guimaraes game was our best game, by far. I think that we put it all together better. I think that, I was even on Twitter reading along, and I was impressed with not only how we were playing, but just a lot more movement. I think their goal was a little scruzado, like not, definitely not necessarily, but I like the way we played. Hell, it was the first time I think all year that we can even say that we liked watching Zizek play. Right? I mean, he scored a goal. He was frio in front of that goal. He did his thing, and he looked good doing it. Um, so all in all, I was impressed. Granted, Guimaraes had a little bit more possession there at the end of the game. Still had more shots than us, but I think as a team to get those 3 goals in against the Guimaraes squad that's been performing well, came off a really good game against. I liked it, and I liked the formation. I think you nailed it about Dumbia. I think he does absolutely nothing for the team at his current state. Sometimes we're playing with 10 with him out there. But I liked watching the combinations of Vieto and Jose. That there's skill there. There's skill. Jose might not be in shape still, but there's skill there. We know that. Vieto, we know he's got the skill. So I liked it, man. I liked it a lot. And it was good for Sporting to win a game like that, to put up 3 goals at home, in particular, against a really good team that Guimaraes is performing well and playing well this year. I I liked them, man. I really don't got much negative to say there. Yeah, that's my take on it, to be quite honest with you guys.
Yeah, and my quick 2 cents on the game as well. I thought definitely Vieto's best game. I thought it was a bit harsh for Celia to even take him off as his first substitution, but I understood the move. You want to bring up Acuna, who's amazing on that left wing, and put in Borja to sort of solidify the lead at that point because Guimaraes went up 2-1 at that point. But two assists from Vieto, definitely our best player of the game, in my opinion, at least. Hesse had a solid 15, 20-minute run out there. A beautiful goal, have to say, taking it around the keeper. And the defense, eles portaram bem este jogo, so not a lot to complain about, and it was against a really good Guimaraes team coming off of a high. Whether they lost against Arsenal or not, the fact that they were 2-1 up, definitely a high for Guimaraes. And kudos to them because that's no easy feat. Yeah, my only worry, and I guess we'll talk even more about it at the Paços Ferreira game, is that maybe this style of play, or maybe it's the players, it's just not getting. Bruno Fernandes hasn't looked his best as of yet this season, I think. And it is a bit concerning. It is a bit concerning because he is head and shoulders above these players. He is definitely the best player in this league, definitely the best player of our team. But as of recently, it hasn't really looked that way, to me at least. And it was, of course. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I thought you was pausing there for a second. But do you guys? There was a Sportingista that was commenting outside of Alvalade after either it was the Guimaraes game or the Rosenborg game or something. I don't remember. But he was analyzing the club's current moment, and he kind of nailed what you just said about Bruno Fernandes. Last year we had a lot more consistent and offensive players for Bruno Fernandes to flourish. We don't have talented players up front anymore. We can't even figure out yet how and who we're going to play as a striker, whether that's Vieto, whether that's Jose, whether that's Luis Felipe, whether that's Bolezi. Like, we don't even know that. You know what I mean? None of that is helping him. And I think that's why he looks a little lost and, like you said, like not playing as himself. At least that's my perception of his performance thus far.
And I agree to that. I agree to that. That's sort of even where I was kind of leaning to. It definitely is the quality of players in front of him, because at that same, if we're talking about the same little interview, that same guy even said we sold Rafinha, and Rafinha was his best compliment. So now he's sort of, Bolasie, as much as I like Bolasie, he doesn't really offer much on the wing. He's more of like I don't even know, bro. Like, to me, he's like a walking fucking bulldozer. Like, he'll have the ball at his feet and he'll try to dangle some people, but he's really like throwing people over. So he's not the same creative player as Rafinha. Vietu, he's growing. I like what I'm seeing from Vietu. He's good on the ball. He's been picking out his passes very well. Like I said, this game he had 2 assists. I believe against Paços Ferreira he also got an assist. I could be wrong though. So maybe it just takes time to flourish between those two. But I 100% agree with you and that guy. He definitely doesn't have the creative players around them, the attacking players around them, and he himself, you can even tell, is looking more for the goal than he is looking for the passes. At least last year, he was sort of trying to find Bas Dost and try to provide him with the goal, whereas this year we see him taking a lot more shots outside the box, trying to get those worldies in. And yeah, that's really it. The only other thing I wanted to say was it was nice seeing Claques score a goal in the other net, aside from scoring an own goal this time. That was about it. Anyways,
Indeed.
Steph, do you have anything else to add to this game, or Nando?
No, I'm good.
No, I think you covered it.
Perfect. Let's go through the Paços Ferreira game. I got the lineup right here. Let me share the screen. Bada bing, bada boom. So we beat Paços Ferreira 2-1. Goals coming from Luis Felipe and Bruno Fernandes. Following lineup was as follows. Renan Ribeiro. I almost said Ruben Ribeiro. I'm having PTSD. Renan Ribeiro in net. Ristovski at right back. Coates, Mathieu, and Acunha making up the rest of the defense. Dumbia, Eduardo Henrique, and Bruno Fernandes in the midfield with Hesse, Vieto, and Luis Felipe up top. Nando, I'll start this one off with you. What are your thoughts on the game?
I didn't get a chance to watch most of the game. I caught a little bit, most of it relato. But I'll say that I didn't like the idea of Sporting starting with Luis Felipe, José, and Vieto all on the pitch at the same time. I didn't like that at all, actually. I think that they looked lost up there, man. You look at that formation and you're trying to figure out, who's going to go ahead and get solid opportunities. Yeah, Luis Felipe had a goal, but I don't like that at all. I think Felipe and Gisette kind of they almost trip over each other. They kind of do a little bit the same. Maybe Gisette's got a little bit more finesse, a little bit more tática. But the conditions weren't good. There's some casos in the game I'm sure we'll talk about. I think that was a just win at all cost game. Sloppy field conditions, trap game, if you will. A team that's playing as bad as Paços Ferreira has been playing. They had 5 points going into the game, or still have 5 points. So concerning that it could be an easy trap game there. Yeah, and we won. They gave us a scare that at the end we got the penalty back. And took and got the win. That's as much as I can say, man. The rest of it, I listened to it, but I didn't really care for the formation. I'll say this to finish my segment here about it. At the end of the game, I think Silas said something about Sporting's mental strength isn't there yet. I don't know if y'all caught when he said that, and I think that's exactly what I took out of that game. I think Sporting mentally is still far from where we want them to be, and obviously there's a lot of reasons that have led to that, but mentally we're not there yet, and kind of made me panic a little bit when Pacos tied that game up. I was like, oh shit, here we go again. But we pulled it off. We're getting wins. We're scrappy wins. We're winning.
100%. And Steph, what about you, dude?
Yeah, well, I'm gonna go the same along the same lines. We started very well. I was like, wow, I think they get what Silas wants. And we scored the goal, I think, on the 11th minute. A great assist from Bruno Fernandes to Luis Felipe. And a great goal, a ponta de lança. And we could have scored again. We could have killed the game, actually. And then, like I said before, 10 minutes left into the first half. And we back to the same old Sporting. The players start panicking, losing the ball with bullshit passes in the midfield, very dangerously. And it's like, what the hell is going on? And that's what Silas means. Mentally, our team is not there yet. They still have some kind of a blockage. that they can play consistently for a good 45 minutes. Because then on the second half, we started well again, even though Pasfredes had the ball more, trying to score because they were losing. That's normal in any game. But again, Sporting uh, towards the middle of the second half, we start shaking all over the place. It's losing the ball and losing the ball is two different things. When you lose the ball, when you're trying to make a 10-meter pass, that's bullshit. When you try to, assist someone 50 meters out, and the pass is it goes the wrong way. Okay, I can accept that, but small passes in the midfield that can generate a counterattack, that's very dangerous, and that's what Sporting is good at fucking up. It's that kind of passes, and Seal is just trying to correct that. And I thought we had it, but then for some reason we go towards the same bullshit sloppy game, and that's why he's forced to make the three substitutions every single game early into the game. I mean, I think he made the first one was like 65th minute, and that's because the players physically and mentally they're not ready, and that I blame a little bit on Kaiser. He's not there anymore, but all the days off he gave and all the relaxation to these players, he sent them the wrong message. Uh, they're not there to be on vacation. They're there to play football. It's 90 minutes, uh, 90 plus minutes per game, and then throughout the week, all they do is recuperate for the next game. They give them the best vitamins, the best doctors, the best uh, nutrition. They tell them what to eat. So for God's sake, just play 90 minutes. I wish that was my lifestyle. But I suck at soccer. But we won a given penalty from the Pasfredes defender or midfielder inside the box. That was a clear penalty. The penalty that they say could have been with Mancher, unless you're not watching the play in replay mode, then you'll see that was not a penalty. When the ball rebounds from his left foot, went to his head, Mathieu was already looking at the uh, um, Passos Freitas player. He was not even looking at the ball, so that was no PK, and that was really on the left side of the box, really away from the goalie. That would have been such a bullshit penalty for whoever's saying that that was a penalty. And besides that, it was a good win though overall. Silas was careful enough to make the substitutions when he needed to be, and regain the control of the game. And you know what? We're not there yet as a team, but I see some improvements and I like it. So let's give it some time. Just keep into reality that this is not the team that Silas picked, and I foresee in January. Um, we go into the market to get a few players because with this team, we're not going to go too far.
Agreed. And that's just going to pick up from that. That's where quick little points I'm going to say. One, I thought we started off the first half and we started off the second half really well, but the first half we played really well. What was Wow, I was going to say something. Anyways, whatever. I think we need to give Silas more time. Basically, is what I wanted to say. Two, I don't give him a lot of credit, but I think Renan Ribeiro had one of his better games as a Sporting player. Really kept us in the game, made some huge saves. Ristovski, I know we talked about him earlier, but I thought he was a breath of fresh air at defense. He offered things that Rosier just doesn't offer or hasn't offered yet. I really liked Hesse this game, especially in the first half. He was. I don't think he put a foot wrong up until the 30th minute in this game, which is promising at least. Hopefully he'll regain at least some of his form from Real Madrid. And I think that's all I really wanted to say before getting into the polemica. Steph, I know you talked about it, but do you think that handball was, from Mathieu at least, was outside the box or in the box?
I think it was in the box. It was like at the verge of the outside left side of the box, the line. But I saw actually today this morning I put on the Juiz Final no Sporting TV Jornal da Tarde, and then the guy with the replay with the professional assistant with computers and shit. He was playing it really slowly in 3 4 different angles, and then if you listen to him and his explanation, then you would understand that it actually made sense when the ball hits his left foot and then goes to his knee, and then he rebounds and bang, it goes to his hand. Machi was already looking at the Passos Ferreira player. He was not even his hand was in a normal position. He didn't reach for the ball. I mean, anyone with common sense would say, why would he make a handball so far away from the goalie? Unless you're not, you're totally, I don't know, naive or malicious or trying to look for excuses. That's when you would say that's a penalty. Because it would make no sense to make a PK so far away from the goalie with no pressure whatsoever. He didn't regain control of the ball. I mean, you got to look at it yourself in a slow mode, and then you'll fully understand that that's not a PK. So kudos to the VAR by calling it the proper call and not calling it PK, because that would have been the worst call of the year.
Yeah, definitely unintentional. Definitely, the ball sort of just bounced up on him.
Mm-hmm.
Nando, to the second handball, it was really three handballs that sort of marked this game. The second handball came in the 74th minute from Passos Ferreira's goal. Do you think that the ref was right to call that goal? Do you think VAR should have called that goal off? What are your thoughts on Passos Ferreira's goal?
I mean, I'm sick and tired of that shit. Like, Sporting has a history of that happening against them, right? Over the years, especially Passos Ferreira, I think, too, and Alvalade back a couple years ago when we were fighting for the title. I think they absolutely should have called that back. Yeah, I do, because the more I think about it, like, one could argue, like, what is he supposed to do with his arm? But the way he jumped, you know what I mean? Like, I've seen that being called off plenty and plenty of times. I think, did they even review it? I don't think they
Yes,
reviewed it.
yes,
Yeah, they did, but
They
the ref
did?
never went to the ref never went to the monitor.
no, he believed.
He was just waiting on his earpiece.
Yeah, he believed what Sistra told him. He believed
Yeah, he
in
just took
him
it for what it was worth and then go and look
because
at it himself.
they review every goal. So,
I absolutely think that it should have been taken back, man. Yeah, because he heads it, and then it's like his arm. It kind of like does the rest and like gets it
I don't
going.
even. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was just saying that the way he headers it, it looks like his arm is what finishes the rest of the motion that gets it in the goal.
Exactly.
To me, 100%. It's not like
They said
for example, Mathieu, where it's like, what are you supposed to do with his arm? You know what I mean? That is more so like his arm is what got the ball to go in the net, not his header per se.
He didn't have the ball; it was his shoulder. But they claiming that it was more than the shoulder; it was below the shoulder. When you look at the replay, I saw it this morning as well. And you could see it was more his forearm than his shoulder. So that's why they saying it should have been called back.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it should have been called back at least.
Because the shoulder is still considered a header, the shoulder. But that was below the shoulder. But to me, the way I see it, I don't think the player would purposely try to score with his arm. But if you follow the VAR rule, then that's considered a handball, and it should have been canceled.
Yeah. Sorry. All right, cool. And last handball was their penalty. Now, clear handball, we're not going to really argue that. The only thing I want to mention, I've seen tweets floating around. I kind of agree with them. If this was a Benfica game 2 years ago, at least, we'd be saying fruta, pagaram os árbitros, because that looks very intentional. He wanted to hit the ball with his hand. Steph, I'll throw that one off first, and I'll pass it off to Nando after.
Oh yeah, okay. So in our day and age, in the 21st century, so when cases like that happen, the first thing they're gonna do, they will investigate it right away. There's no ifs or buts about it. I'm pretty sure by now someone is looking into it. So if a player intentionally did it because he's being paid off, let's just call it the way it is. That would have been the worst case of purposely doing a PK against his team that way. I mean, the TV is right on you. So, I mean, fuck. I hope he got paid really well then, because that's the worst PK you could come up with. So, jokes aside, no, I don't think he did it. He did it purposely. I think it was just a reflection. Like, sometimes we have the tendency to catch a ball that's coming towards us with our hands, and that's what I think he did. Was it a dumb penalty? Yeah. Should he be more disciplined? Of course. He's a professional player, for God's sake. Everybody knows you're supposed to keep your hands, crossed against your lower back. So that was a dumb penalty. What is there corruption involved? No, there's no fucking corruption involved in our day and age. There's so much bullshit going on. So many investigations going on. Listen, me, I don't think so, because there's just too much shit going on. I mean, Varandas doesn't even know how to be the president of Sporting. You think he'll be able to be involved in corruption? Come on, let's be totally honest. Sporting at this point in time, we're still trying to find a rhythm and a team. Never mind being involved in corruption. I mean, we have no money to pay anybody. A gente temos tesos, caralho. Uh, Maybe we paid somebody uma bola de Berlim com café, com galão, but I doubt it, bro. We got no money.
Jose Eduardo catering.
Yeah, I thought we owe him money, apparently.
Yeah, we
Uh,
always fucking do.
yeah, só se a gente deu uma dúzia de sardinhas a alguém. No, there's no corruption, bro. We ain't got no money for that. Come on, let's be realistic.
Why would we go 40 years of not winning?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. We
gonna-
decide to be corrupt just to come in like third or some shit. I know.
But it's expected.
Dude, that would be bad. Imagine if we did.
It's expecting social media for people to say that, because o Zé Povinha assim, que é que tu queres que eu te diga? It's always going to be like that. Portugal doesn't involve. I hate to say it, but somos um país assim sempre com as mesmas desculpas e sempre bullshit. So I'm not impressed.
Agreed. Nando, I'm assuming you have the same beliefs, right?
Yeah, 100%, man. 100%.
Yeah, fair enough.
It's beyond reaching, bro. They're a bunch of haters. Sporting finally starts winning some games. They got to fit the narrative their way. You know what I mean? So that's what that is.
Foda-se. O Porto ganhou com um golo que devia ter sido cancelado, because carregaram no guarda-redes na pequena área. Ah, puta que os pariu.
It's true. It's true. Anyways.
O Benfica ganhou tudo cagado lá no tom dela. Ui, nem sei como é que eles ganham. Ah, foda-se. Fuck caralho.
Anyways, Steph, I should have asked you this before the podcast, but are you ready to maybe go through modalidades, or should we go to Twitter questions first?
Go to Twitter questions first.
Oh, actually, esquece. I totally forgot. Boys, we have to talk about Varandas, Claques, and even the Wendell situation. So, Steph, give us a little brief explanation of what has went on with Sporting over the last few weeks in the Claques.
Well, the Claques and Varandas, they're not getting along, and supposedly Varandas, he had 5 meetings with them. I mean, this is what I'm reading off the newspapers. I don't have any contacts or connections from Sporting or Claques. I don't know. I mean, from what I understand, he tried to dialogue with them, and The Claques they're not happy with Varandas because he totally changed the chemistry of how to buy the tickets, how to buy the game boxes. Apparently, the game boxes they could buy for 120 of 120 euros. Um, and then he took a lot of the benefits away from them. He let them keep the Curva Sul, the Casinha, and now he's taking all that away, or he took it away already. They're not allowed to go with signage saying Juventude Leonina uh, and the other clock as well. So it's because if Varandas feels like, okay, I've given you the benefit of the doubt, I've told you what you should do and shouldn't do, and you're still provoking me. You're still calling me names. They went as far as almost they breached the security into the garage to go talk to the players. And then in one game, no Pavilion Jean Rocha, they wanted to talk to Varandas face to face, and the police had to get involved because they were afraid of physical confrontation. So all that put together, uh, Varandas and his administration, to them it was enough, and they said enough is enough. If you guys are not going to behave, we're not going to respect you as the GOA, and we will remove the benefits from you, and we won't recognize you anymore as Claques, and we'll kick you off the sporting installations. And they've done that. Expuseram a Juventude Leonina da Casinha. Um, and the only thing I agree with Varandas is there's only one thing I agree with him. Actually, two things. There's no room for violence in football. It's a football game, for God's sake. It's not a war. So there's no room for violence, and I'll say it again. And there's no need for names. There's no need to provoke anybody. People forget, the clock forget that there's senhores, miúdos, uh, attending those games no Pavilion João Rocha, and they should contain themselves. Uh, with that said, when the administration is not doing what they're supposed to, of course it's clocks that should say something. But there's always a professional, uh, a very educated way of saying things. You don't have to say constantly, filha da puta, não és cornudo, vai para casa, tua mulher está-te a pôr os cornos. I mean, is that acceptable? No, it's not. And when it's one person saying that, I guess the PSP or GNR, they kind of ignore it. But now when you have 2,000, 3,000 saying that, it's annoying. You know what I mean? I mean, the clocks, the function of a clock is supposed to be there to support the team. That's the number one function, to support the all the teams, not only football A team, but all the teams. And they've done a great job with that. But I think through the years, especially in Portugal and also in South America, the Claques they've gained a lot of power up to the point that they think they own the stadium, they think they own the club, and they've gone a little bit to the extreme. I don't want my Claques to be ultra Claques. That's bullshit. We don't need that in football. I want I want to be able to take my wife that's Benfiquista to a Sporting Benfica game no Javalad without her being insulted, or her being afraid to put her jersey of Benfica because she's Benfiquista and vice versa. I should be able to go to the Stade de Luz. Is that going to happen anytime soon? No. But maybe in the future, I'd like it to be that way. And anyone that thinks, as Claques é assim, Portugal é assim, são atrasados mental. I hate to say, but they need to keep up with evolution. If we remember England a few years ago, remember the Hooligans? That's been eradicated. Now anyone can go to any stadium in England, and you can probably wear your jersey, and nothing is going to happen to you. Remember they used to have the fences with the barbed wire. Remember that?
Yep.
Yeah. Now it's all gone. You go to England, it's a clean game. A Chelsea Manchester United game. The fans they mix together. There's no problems. It took years to fix that. a lot of years, but they got it done. And in Portugal, it's not getting done because nossa federação, nossa liga, they too lazy. Our government in Portugal, they too lazy. They drag their feet for way too long. And but that's the only two things I agree with Veranda. It's no violence and no name calling. That's not necessary. Besides that, I disagree with Verandas. We need our clocks. We need them. But if you did dialogue with them for 5 meetings and they didn't improve, I mean, shame on them. Because if I was a president of Sporting Portugal, I wouldn't allow my clocks in my house to insult me and try to punch me in the face. I wouldn't allow that shit either. But I would call the leaders of the Juventude Unina, either with the clock, I would call them and I would talk to them. If you don't stop with this, I will revoke it. And I think that's what happened. And if this is the way it happened, then I don't believe me. I don't like Varandas. I didn't vote for him, and I think he sucks as a president. But in this specific item, I agree with him because as Claques, they can think they own the club because they don't. They dare to support the team, and they have to stop, with violence, and they have to stop with the name calling, and they have to think about who's surrounding them, which is not only it's no longer men's sports only. There's a lot of ladies that love football and they go to the soccer games, and a lot of kids, and the kids looking at that. Maybe they telling their father, pai, estou com medo, eu não quero vir mais o José Alvalade para ver isto, pai, fiquei cheio de medo, and I think enough is enough, and if our club is going towards fixing the violence and the name calling, I am for that. You know me, I've said that before to you guys. If we don't have clocks, then we don't have clocks. I would prefer to have them. But they have to change their shitty mentality of em Portugal já é assim há 50 anos. Mas não tem que ser daqui agora no presente e no futuro. Tem que se mudar a maneira de pensar. Essa maneira galinha de pensar que as clássicas podem fazer tudo. Pá, não podem. They can go over there and sing and apoiar o clube. Epá, fixe, meu. But every time they do something well for 10 games in a row, and then the 11th game they fuck up, what do you think people's going to remember? That's when they fucked up. It's not all the times they've done great things. And that's all. I know. I'm already talking too much. That's all I got to say.
No. Good points, though. Fair enough. And Nando, what are your thoughts?
I mean, I agree for the most part with what Steph just said. Like, we don't want violence. I would like to believe that most fans, Claque members, non-Claque members, associados, sócios, fans of opposing or teams, etc., they're not going to sit here and be like, we want violence. We don't want what happened to Jamor. We don't want situations like that where fans are getting stabbed outside the games. We don't want stuff like that. So those are amongst, Claques against other Claques and fans against other fans. And then our own fans. We don't want to be in war with our own fans. The one thing, though, that I'll say is this. We can't continue, and I've been very vocal about the whole dictatorship that's been occurring at Sporting. And the bullshit that he said in the comunicado, that the Claques are there to apoiar o clube, and throwing shade that they haven't been apoiando o clube, or that they don't have a right to anything else other than apoiando o clube, kind of irritates me, because at the end of the day, a lot of those guys are sócios, if not all of them. A lot of the time, these days we have this saying that if you're not a sócio, you really don't have much to say, because you got to be a sócio. If you're associado, then tough luck. You don't really have a voice.
But that's I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're fine.
But that's where Varandas will get in trouble later, because he's not going to be reelected, because these associados do Juventude Unina, they each one of them, they should have around 20 to 25 votes, because they've been there for a while.
But
and then the next
but
re-election,
they didn't vote for him the first time.
Well, some of them did, because he won because of
some did, but the vast majority of them didn't.
No, I think they believed in his message. I think they believed in his message, and that's why he won the elections by vote, not by body count.
He won by the bullshit, by os
by
votos, not the 20, popular
20,
vote.
E quem é que tem mais desses votos? Geralmente é as Claques. É as Claques que têm mais esses votos.
Sim, mas as Claques agora, they have a lot of young people there. Like, you've got some of the older guys, but you have, and I'm glad you brought that up too, though, because I do agree with a lot of that statement. But I think that his message, I think that his full thought process, I think it's the perfect power move from Varandas to the one and only powerful group as Sporting, and the ones that we've continued to talk about for a long time, and the ones you just brought up, those with the votes. Quem são? The older people. Quem são? Os croquetes. Quem são? The values that continue to hold those votes. And it's the smartest move. Like, I talked to my dad about this the other day very briefly, and it's exactly what I thought he would say. It's, we don't need those people in the club. Sporting não precisa disso. Sporting não precisa de Claques. Já tem adeptos. So good for him to put them in their place, and good for him to kind of cut ties with all their benefits and blah, blah, blah. And then good for him to kind of show who's boss. And also, what does it do? It allows people like Manuel Fernandes and all these other fucking fruitcakes that go on the telejornal and do those programas that talk on our behalf, that say the most idiotic things. Who are they? Older people, the same people, the people that have always been sticking their hands in the pot when it's necessary for them. And it allows Varandas to look like, quote unquote, look like he's taking control of the situation. It allows that separation between socios and associados. It allows that continuous growth of uncomfortableness at the club. But he's okay with that, and I think he's finally embraced that. I don't think he wants uma união no Sporting anymore, because I think that if he ends up having união no Sporting, okay, I think what we'll have is another Bruno Carvalho. Like, it might not be Bruno Carvalho, okay, but I mean another somebody new will come from the ashes and will create and stir enough movement that will take him down and do that kind of movement that Bruno Carvalho created the first time that he won the presidency, or at least got close to winning and didn't win. And to me, it makes me very mad, because if you notice one thing, they will cantar, they will apoiar, which we've always said across Portugal. Sporting's Claques are by far the most civilized, the most well-behaved, and the ones that support the most. And two, we are only talking shit about him at the end of the game. We wait till the game ends, and then we talk, because you have a right to. Claro, tá a família, a mulheres, a filhos, a todas essas coisas que não é bonito. But come on. As a mom, as a dad, as anybody like that, we have to understand, when I go to a sporting event in America, I got to deal with people insulting my girlfriend if I go to a Cowboys-Redskins game, and, it's just part of the territory and things that we can't stop that. We wish it wouldn't happen.
But that's remotely. I mean, I've seen games even at Liverpool when me and Danny, we went to the Liverpool game. The guy, he came all the way to our section to get the football back. I mean, the thing is, they're not even police officers. These spotters at these sports events. If you throw a snowball, which happened at the Giant Stadium, whoever threw a snowball, they were kicked out of the stadium. They will kick you out of the stadium, of the pavilion. Remember was it the Lakers owner?
Yeah.
He punched a NBA player.
Yeah.
He was kicked out of the pavilion. They didn't care who the fuck he was. But in Portugal, são muito mansos. They don't do shit.
Yeah.
They don't do shit.
Varandas is embarrassed, dude. He's embarrassed. I'll end with this. He's embarrassed. He's pissed off. He knows that the message is being conveyed, and he knows that he sucks at his job. Or if, in his opinion, you know what he reminds me of? Or at least the situation right now a little bit. And I know it's totally, in a way, off left field, but like, for example, the current president of the United States, whether you're Democrat or Republican, when some shit happens, if he doesn't get the recognition that he wants, he literally tweets it. I never get the recognition. I never this, I never that. He's seeking approval desperately, Varandas is, with everything he does. And when he doesn't get it, he makes little fights like that, little disparates.
But let's say you and I and Danny, we are the leaders of Juventude Leonina. Let's say we're the leaders. And then, if we are the leaders, we're responsible for our association. Am I right? So then, let's say Varandas did something we didn't like. You have the option of having tarjas with a message saying, Varandas out não sabe o que está a fazer, or whatever might be the case. But when you go above and beyond to try to physically attack the players, which happened in the Alk shit, and it just happened a few weeks ago, they're trying to breach the security in the garage to talk to the players. That's a big no-no. Here in America, it's a felony, and you'll go to jail for that, and you'll be banned from sports events forever, or if not forever, for a long time. But in
So
Portugal, you know what it takes for a fan to be banned? It
what?
happened to a Benfiquista that killed Rui Mendes com foguete. That guy was banned from most sports events, and he tried to go back, and he was arrested. It takes for you to kill somebody in Portugal to be banned from a stadium, which is a shame. It means that our law enforcement in Portugal, our government, they too fucking slow of reacting. They don't do shit because me personally, when for example, when there's a derby, Sporting Benfica or Benfica Sporting, it doesn't matter se no Pavilhão João Rocha, no Pavilhão da Luz. We hear the Claques going against each other, filhas da puta, não sei mais que, the very live sound and all that shit, and all that stuff. If both clubs had fucking balls of steel, they could have stopped that from the get-go and nip it in the butt right away and say, kick all of these fucking fans out of the pavilion because this is not acceptable. But they let it go. They let it go. Now to fix it, it's a huge problem because it takes a lot of work. You have to dirty your hands. Me personally, I hate it. I don't like fans that go to a pavilion and start fucking chanting and provoking people just because they wear the jersey from another club. I hate
Yeah,
that.
I agree with you. You don't need to do that.
Is it going to be? Am I going to say something stupid once in a while in the sports event? Like, ei, o árbitro é um gatuno. É pá, é cego, o gajo não vê nada. Como é que ele marcou aquela falta, meu? Palhaço. Of course you're going to say those kind of things. But when you take it to the extreme that you want to cross that very fine line and try to go after the players or after the president that we don't like, I don't like him either. That's a bit too much.
Yeah, it
It's
is.
a bit too much.
It is. And I wish that he had my concern mostly is the timing of it. Because if he's concerned with any of Il não falava só com Wills, he would have gone and cut ties immediately after they tried to go into the garage. He would have cut ties.
And that's what happened. The timing
No,
is
but he waited, and it only happened after the whatever that most recent pavilion where they turned around with the second he walked in, they saw him come in, and they immediately looked at him, all of them. It was like 2,000-3,000 of them, and flicked them off and started chanting like that song,
But who knows if he didn't call the leaders and said something on the phone?
But why call the leaders?
We'll
Why
never
not
know.
why just not put out that whole comunicado right off the bat, and done it like
Maybe
a
he
month
had
ago.
to. Maybe he had a meeting with the administration. He didn't want to make the decision himself, and he met with the other vice presidents and dirigents and said, "What should we do?" And they recommended, you know what? Let's fucking pull the plug, and that's it. I mean, I'm not listen. I love the Claques. The Claques do a phenomenal job. They go north and south of Portugal, including the Madeira, Jogos da Europa. They support our club. They phenomenal. They are phenomenal. Don't get me wrong. And because of a few bad apples, the whole Claque is paying for it. But me personally, I blame the leaders of the Claques. Because if you're a leader of the Claques, then you have to maintain things under control. If you don't like a certain member of your association acting up, you kick him out. That's simple. Meu, o que é que estás a fazer, meu? Biste bocadinho a mais ou quê? Estás drogado ou quê, caralho? Tens de parar com essas cenas. That's what a leader for me. I'm a leader in my Navy unit. And if I see one of my cells misbehaving, I'll say something. And I think he lacks of leadership, these Claques. Because if they had real leaders, these things wouldn't happen. Leaders are supposed to lead by example. If they misbehave, then your members will misbehave. And they have to stop that. That's not part of football. In sports, there's no place for violence. There's no place for excessive cursing towards a specific person. You could for sure disagree with Varandas' actions in a very political and polite way. You don't have to constantly call him names and even making fun of his wife being pregnant that she's going to give birth to a black kid. I've heard these terms in Twitter. I mean, she was a awesome athlete for Sporting. She won a lot of titles for Sporting, and insulting his wife like that, it goes beyond my understanding. And I
Agreed.
don't care if people don't like what I'm saying. I don't know how many will listen to our podcast, but the Claques they're not entitled to do everything they want to do. That's not what they're there for. Portanto, até concordo que tenham acabado com essa merda, because if you don't behave, then you shouldn't be allowed to go to the stadium. That's my take on it, because I want to go to one day to the Estádio da Luz, me, you, and Danny to watch Benfica Sporting, and I want to wear my jersey. But most likely we won't be able to, because we'll be afraid of retaliation or something. Because the clocks in Portugal, they dominate the law enforcement, which should be vice versa. I mean, essa merda vamos fazer como é que eles chamam? O passeio do Javalada até ao Estádio da Luz. How do you call that? I'm forgetting the name.
I know what you're talking about.
A procissão, oh, caraca.
Yeah.
Something like that. Meu, eu para mim, do we see this in the United States? No. Do we see that in England? No.
But you see it in
That's
England.
the culture, though.
I understand it's the
But
culture, but
I understand like things need to change as well in the culture. I agree with you on that. Especially with violence.
Yeah, but that's it's the culture, and then when we want to change something, we say it's the culture. That's the excuse we use.
Agreed.
And then we're not evolving. We
Agreed.
say, olha para... Sabes o que é que o pessoal diz? Olha para aqueles tristes. Eu vejo, porque quando vou a um café ver o jogo, o pessoal diz, olha, benfiquistas, sportinguistas, a ver os claques uns dos outros, olha para aqueles tristes, são mesmo parvos. Olha, ele fez mal para eles estarem ali todos com raiva e a chamar filha da puta. Vai away, disse... Se é claro que Sporting viu um gajo do Benfica que não conhece de lado nenhum, um gajo assim com 3 pernas, assim, sem dentes e o cara, ei, olha, filha da puta, burro, caralho, até eu não conheço o homem de lado nenhum e já está a chamar nomes. Why? Why you calling that poor guy you don't even know names? And then that's the thing that has to change in Portugal. If people say, não é assim, é cultura. Ok, então é cultura. Vamos ser nabos para a vida inteira. Pronto.
Yeah.
É mais nada, não envolvemos como um país. That's why, you look at the soccer games, the stadiums, they're not even a quarter full.
Right.
Because you're not attracting the young kids, the moms, the stigma in Portugal, assim, filha, gente, eu queria ver o jogo, mas há sempre porrada, vamos fazer o quê? Levar porrada? Não vamos nada, é melhor ficar em casa, vemos na televisão. And it's one of, I'm not saying it's the main factor, but it's one of the factors. Of course, when it's a rainy day, who wants to take the kids to a rainy day, game? But one of the biggest, stigmas in Portugal is, jogo de futebol é perigoso. And it shouldn't be that way. It should be, hey, let's go watch a soccer game because it's fun.
Fair. Let me just throw in some 2 cents, and I'll try to be brief. And please, guys, tell me to shut the fuck up if I'm rambling. But, one thing is you said the leadership with the Claques. 100% agree with you. But I also think leadership within this club, a.k.a. Varandas, is also put into question. This 31...
we don't have that.
But, as an example, this 31 de junho, how is that not a provocation for violence? This 31 de junho, quando não há 31 dias em junho. You know what I mean? And that's purposely put there. There's another one. It's so funny to me that, and I'm going to relate some of what's going on to the elections of what Frederico Varandas said he would do in terms of the Claques.
Unir, né?
Not even unir, but I'll get there in a sec. It's more on, or actually I'll get there right now. In the elections, he was talking about how the Claques are bad and how he wants to disappear the Claques, blah, 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 or at least reserve their rights. But this only really came after they did a chant saying, Varandas, it doesn't come right after he's elected. It doesn't come when things are hot last year, but there's no chance against Varandas. It comes after a chant against Varandas in the middle of a futsal game. Fair enough. It shouldn't have been in the middle of a futsal game. But in the middle of a game where the Claques start off this chant and they get everybody to chant in. Because you see after, when people from not the Curva, or the Curva Sul, I don't know, or North, I don't know what direction it is, once everybody else starts clicking in, that whole section starts turning up and singing the same thing to Varandas. Only then does he take charge. And then, relating it sort of back to Bruno Carvalho, people want to relate the attack talk shit to Bruno Carvalho. Why aren't we relating the attack in the parking garage to Frederic Varandas? If one president was the one to provoke actions against the clock, I think the other president, especially seeing as Varandas was so heavy on...
one of them lost his presidency because of it.
Exactly. And seeing as Varandas was putting the blame onto Bruno Carvalho, I think it's unfair for him to sort of brush off this blame onto him as well.
No, but that's why now he's reacting, because
exactly
action reaction. So he's reacting to what he saw about the garage. He gave them one more chance, and then they fucked up again, and then now he pulled the plug. He's reacting before something more severe happens.
But then again, it's also you said this too, Steph. So I know you agree with me. It's sad to see that this whole reaction from Varandas.
Something about the way he's reacting and when he's reacting doesn't smell right to me. If he was trying so hard to put the foot down and to be assertive and to get that shit going in a way that's friendly and family focused and not incentivizing violence, then I really truly would have felt that he should have truly done something sooner rather than later, not given chances, not given opportunities. Exactly. The Alcuchit occurred, and Alcuchit should have been the last straw, punto finale, parágrafo. Like, he came in as being the candidato, as we're going to, like you just said, Danny just said, to end the whole reign of the Claques and to make that whole stigma a lot less than what it's been. And he didn't do any of that. Why wait? Alcuchit happened, take over, be president, be like, olha pá, as Claques, esta coisa that we know of it has ended. That's done. O novo Sporting is this way, that, and acabou. And he didn't do that.
Exactly, and that's just a bit of what the biggest issue I have with Varandas. And I know, Steph, you share the same issue. I know it's more towards the Claques that we maybe disagree a bit. But my whole issue with Varandas is he doesn't seem like a thinker. He doesn't seem like a president that plans shit out. He seems like a reactionary president. He can't sell Bruno Fernandes. Okay, I'm selling my whole right side, Rafinha and Thierry. I'm bringing in a bunch of loans. He doesn't want to cancel the Claques right when he gets in the presidency. Okay, I'm canceling them the moment they say one bad thing about me. The moment they get a really catchy song against me, boom, they're out of here. A few broken windows on a car where we don't even know whether it's maybe intentional or not. I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist. I'll believe him where he says it's the Claques. It's just a pity that maybe 5 people at most. What I want from Sporting and from Frederic Varandas in terms of the Claques is to look at our rivals in terms of Porto, where they're not the greatest example, but at the same time, you look at Porto, how many meetings has Sérgio Conceição and team captains have had with the Super Dragões over the last 2 years? A lot of meetings, and only a few times have we seen many altercations, mainly just yelling at the players, like in a crazy fashion, fair enough, but it's mainly just yelling at them. There's no physical altercations between the Super Dragões and Porto.
You just can't have that. You can't.
Exactly. And that's what I want from Frederic Varandas. I want control of the Claques. I don't want to end the Claques.
And I'll say this too. I'm not trying to defend the Claques either, man. I want that to be the point. Like, it's not so much about defending the Claques as just trying to hold a man that's supposed to be the president accountable.
Because they have their problems.
We need the Claques. We need the Claques.
We do.
Because our system was at 28,000 only. That's
exactly
the last game was against Guimaraes was 28 and some change. That's low. Very low.
Fucking Manuel Fernandes, even his stupid ass excuse in one of the most recent shows, he said, pá, o gajo vem aqui insultar o homem e a mulher dele ou a namorada tá grávida, pá, whatever. He's butthurt. He's butthurt. He's a little kid. They made fun of him. He doesn't like it. He can't deal with it. He feels he literally feels butthurt. You guys are a little kid. He's been picked a little bit, and now he doesn't know how to handle it.
Well, to me, if that's the main reason, then Varandas. I mean, I don't think highly of him. Then shame on him, because he knows that being a president of a big club vai acontecer, levar de vez em quando filho da puta aqui e acolá.
O Bruno Carvalho levou pior, sinceramente. Levou pior. A mulher dele estava cocaína e tudo assim, não te esqueces.
You can't control that. It's impossible to control that. But you surely can control the leadership of the Claques and call them in the office and say, listen, you need to regain control of your peeps.
Agreed.
Because this can happen. What the fuck was this trying to force your way into the garage? Why were you guys trying to climb to a zona presidencial? They tried to break into the zona presidencial no pavilhão João Rocha, ou no camarote onde ele está, o caralho.
But it's the few of what I'm saying is it's the few of them. It's the estúpidos. Okay, you kick the estúpidos out. You don't kick the whole thing out. In my opinion,
I agree with you 100%. And that's when the leaders of the Claques they play a big role, because if you call the leader of the Claques, és responsável por resto dos membros. E a única coisa que tens de fazer é identificar esses membros. Foi o António, foi o José que se armaram em paz. Foda-se. Rua da nossa associação. Essa merda não pode passar.
Yeah, isso é pena. We don't know what happens behind closed doors.
Check it out this way. He revoked the rights of this, that, and the other, right? E quem continua showing up to the games away, they're still going to find their tickets. Sure. They might have to buy it secondhand. Sure. They might spend a little bit more money. Sure. They were there with their bandeiras. They were there with their tarjas in Passo Ferreira. Sure, they're not able to do it like they want in Alvalade, but they still went in with the shirts. They still managed to escape, and they'll continue to find their way in. And all you're going to continue to do is alienate. And all you're going to continue to do is now you're provoking guys that really have nothing to lose. Because at the end of the day, they'll still be there. And Varandas will lose his presidency at some point. He will. And he's just going to create more of a war.
He won't be reelected. But we stuck with him for another 2 years.
Yeah. I just wanted to bring up two quick points and related back to the elections. One is back to the England point, where I agree the Portuguese culture needs to change and look more to England as an example, but at the same time, it's only really working in England. So we have to be cautious in that, and Portugal isn't the sort of country where we can...
In Germany, it's working.
Germany, there's Claques. It might not be as aggressive, 100%, but Germany, there's still Claques. There's still... Bro, you look at Borussia Dortmund, it's fucking incredible. Yeah, so that's the sort of magic that I want us to have, rather than...
It's beautiful to see, because it's
guys,
coordinated.
We had it a few years ago.
Yes, it's I don't know. I mean, I'm pretty sure in Germany they have a couple stupid asses.
For sure,
also
as everybody, even England does, though. Even England does. England has their racist fucking chants in Chelsea, for example.
There's no perfection.
Exactly.
We know that.
Agreed.
But we could get much better in Portugal. I
100%.
mean, even in Spain, it's better. A country that as Claques to Real Madrid to Barcelona era sempre porrada. Even there, it's better. The only countries that's not better, it's in Portugal and South America. I don't know.
And Serbia.
Maybe we should, if we want to continue to behave this way, and the Portuguese community and Portugal inte, they think it's normal. Maybe they should take up Portugal and put it in South America. Just saying.
And then my last point, and it's very brief, and it's again towards the election, is when Frederico Varandas was running for elections, he was Jubileio, he was a part of Jubileio, tudo estava lindo. Agora que é presidente, já não é lindo.
Yeah, because now he's back. Now he's back to fucking appeasing those that are going to keep him there.
Yeah, and that's really the only really things that pissed me off. Anyways.
Houve presidente com tomates. He's not there anymore. E agora há presidente que sabe that he's going to continue to have to say and do the things that keep him there. Back.
Listen, if the leaders of Juventude Unida, they want to resolve this, it's easy. They just got to say, listen, we got your message, and from now on, we will comply with the club's laws and directions and directives.
Will
You know,
Frederic Varandas even
but
accept that though?
no, but then I will tell him. I'll
There you
tell him,
go.
but don't listen to us though. We'll stop with the cursing. We'll stop with trying to breach security. But it doesn't mean that if we see something we don't agree with you, that we're not going to say something. We will have Tarsis saying something, and that's nothing you can do.
I
If
think
he
as sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's it. I'm done.
I think as long as there's still lenços brancos at the end of the game, I don't think Varandas is going to remove this decision at all, in my opinion.
You might be right.
Anyways, let's go on to the Twitter questions before going on to Modalidades. I have Modalidades over here. But let me just go on to the Twitter questions real quick. Great debate, boys. Let me just say that. Boys, round of applause for us. Anyways, first question comes in from our boy David Claudio at David Strife 35. Steph, I'll pass this one off to you. He asks, do you think Daniel Bragança and Francisco Geraldes will return in January? And do you think we will be champions in hockey in patins and futsal? Steph, what do you think, dude?
We have an excellent chance to be champions in patins. We have a great team. For that, we have to win Sunday against Football Club de Porto because in hockey patins it's like in football it's a regular season. There's no playoffs, so we can afford to lose games like we did last year against teams that we should win. So we have to be consistent. So I think we have a good shot. In futsal, we also have a good shot, but in futsal, you could have a couple slips because we're going to the playoff mode, and we all know that the final will be Sporting Benfica in a 5-game series. So we have a good shot for both to win. And then the second portion of the question was,
Uh, yeah.
Bragança, yes, Bragança has a place to play in the A team of Sporting. Geraldes, no, he hasn't been playing in his club at all. So why would he come back if he's not playing
Yeah.
with his? I mean, every time he's loaned, he never plays. So I don't think it's a Sporting thing. I think coaches realize that something's not adding up with Francisco Geraldes. I liked him, and I still like him, but maybe he doesn't apply himself at practice because it's just a huge coincidence that every coach is benching him.
Yeah.
But
It's sad even to see even in Greece. It's sad.
yeah, exactly. He hasn't been playing at all. So, but against he was considered the best player of a Liga, da Segunda Liga no mês passado. So I would welcome him in January big time because we need him. Because if Bruno Fernandes is exhausted, we could certainly use Daniel Bragança. Is he at the level of Bruno Fernandes? No, but he's getting there. So
He
give him a
could,
shot.
yeah.
Yeah,
Exactly.
give him a shot.
He is younger, yeah.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
he can definitely fill in for Wendell if he does leave in January, or even Eduardo that's currently playing. So
Yeah,
it's got a banger
Eduardo.
on the weekend too.
Eduardo is actually, to me, in my way of seeing things, he's a better number 6 than Dumbia. For now, that's all we have anyway. So,
Fair,
but that's it.
fair enough, fair enough. Next question comes in from Mike Casolho from
That's
3
it.
Tugas Podcast at SCP Mike 83. Nando, I'll pass this one off to you. Juvileo and Diretivo Ultras chant Varandas out, and the rest of the stadium whistles at them. Who do you side with, and why? The Claques and other sausage adepts. I guess we sort of answered that, but just to make your point more clear, Nando, who do you side more with, the Claques or the adepts?
I'm gonna start with the Claques because I think that Adepto situation is very hard to like give it a clear, and definitive. What's the word I'm looking for? It's hard to say who all is with the Claques or not in those people whistling because the Claques have not been talking shit until the end of the game. Okay, so they've been appointing, they've been sitting there pulling for the squad, clapping, cheering, chanting, and then at the end of the game, then they remind the president of what they are. The club is more and more divided, week in, week out. The wins are not putting them together right now. It doesn't matter, and they're more and more divided. And that division is continuing to show os ricos e os pobres at Sporting, right? So the ones with the votes and the ones that don't. So I'll leave it at that. It's as simple as that.
Agreed. Next question comment more comes in from PM Rider esque at still PM Rider esque. He says, "I'm still scratching my head as to how Steelers got the job. He reminds me of a shy kid on the first day at school, sat on the bench hoping someone will ask him to be his friend. The most I've seen from him is a rendition of Two Little Dicky Birds from the sidelines, tactically inept." I disagree with you, but fair to your open to your own opinion, and very funnily read. I must say so myself. So, hey. Next question comes in from Kevin at KFernandes1906.
Okay, let me just say something.
Sorry, go
really
ahead,
fast.
Steph.
Yeah,
for
really
sure.
fast.
Go ahead.
Não se pode fazer omelete sem ovos. That's it.
Said it better than Jose Mourinho, bro.
Yeah.
Next question comes in from Kevin at KFernandes1906. He asks, we have tried a lot of combinations with Felipe, Hesse, Vieto, Bolasi, but which is our best partnership up front? I'll answer that. I think our best top three, if we're going top three, is Felipe in the middle, Vieto on the left, and Bolasi on the right, in my opinion. And yeah, I guess modalidades. Steph, do you want to take this over? I have a list here, so I can do it if you want.
Well, modalidades. I mean, I'm just gonna talk about two games that it was the most recent ones. The other ones, everybody knows about it by now. But Sporting Volleyball played against Family Sense, and they won 3-0, easy victory. So we remain undefeated. So far, we haven't given up one set. So kudos to our volleyball team. They've been improving with the new leadership. O Zezinho, that's the name of our coach. So we have a brand new team. We only kept maybe two or three from the prior year. So our volleyball team is looking better and better. And to beat Benfica, which they are the contenders, we need a really good squad. So kudos to them. Our futsal ladies today, I actually watched the game on TV. They won 5-3 against Herneiros. Also undefeated in that division. In case you guys didn't know, in Portugal for the ladies' league, there's a South League and a North League, Liga Sul and Liga Norte. It's actually embarrassing for Portugal, they not having a league, just one league, South and North together. It looks like it's because it's too expensive, something like that. But it's a shame. So if you want sports for the ladies to evolve, it has to be the same as the males. It can be that different. I was like puzzled. I'm like, what the fuck? Are you serious? In the 21st century, we still have this much differences between males and females. It's embarrassing. And then we have two huge derbies coming up tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. in the U.S. You should, if you have BTV, you could watch it. I think it's on BTV. Benfica Sporting in basketball. Yep. After 24 years at Derby in basketball. So it's generating a lot of expectation, excitement for both clubs. And that's what I keep on saying, I mean, it's great to have these rivals in the same division because it draws a lot of attention. So Sporting without Benfica and Benfica without Sporting in Porto, of course, it wouldn't be as much fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we have we have a Clásico because it's from Porto, it's not from Lisbon, against Futebol Clube Porto on Sunday no Pavilhão João Rocha. And it's imperative that we win against them, so we remain in first place. We also still undefeated. We've had some tough games, Campeonatos, but we managed to still stay undefeated. So for modalidades, that's all I have. We have a whole bunch of games, but saying all the games, it would be like another 1 hour because Sporting is involved in so many modalities. It's unbelievable. If you go to the website, the listagem, you'll see there's at least more than 50 games in just the weekend itself. In case people don't know, you have Juvenis A, B, C. they have different teams in the juveniles itself. It becomes they have juveniles for the national title, juveniles for regional. So our club and our rivals, they give a lot of chances for kids to be involved in sports and to be competitive. And that's all I got.
Yeah. All right. Great way to end this great podcast, boys. Uh, believe it or not, we tried to make it under an hour, but it's hard, man. When we have this much passion about our club and we get into these good debates that I think we just had one, it's tough to keep it under an hour. But anyways, I hope everybody enjoyed listening to yet another podcast from Sporting160 over here, Sporting160EN, I should say. Hopefully we'll be a bit more consistent. We've all been a little busy lately dealing with some personal things. I've started a new job. Chris started a new job. Steph's still balancing 2 jobs and a family, of course. Nando's balancing his hectic life, working as well. So, we're out here trying to do everything and still love Sporting. So I hope you guys appreciate it. Follow us on Twitter at Sporting160_EN. Follow us on Instagram, Sporting160EN. And of course, our merch is still up if you want to search Sporting160EN on Spreadshirt. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Steph, Nando, thanks for joining us as always. And also, as always, Viva Sporting.
Viva, man.
Viva Sporting, you Chris.